Go ahead and pump it. And a fin. Who do you pump? Go ahead and attack. I dare you. Double first strike's gonna wipe out your Death Toucher. And now you've just double spelled and you've cleared your own board. We're going to go ahead and just pump up, take the easy victory, and stroll on in. It didn't do the tax box thing that we Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Floridaman Gaming. My name is Furion, and today we're going to be playing Magic the Gathering Arena. For today's deck, we're playing our Say Please Tax Box, which is a take on the Tax Box deck from the last video. We're trying to merge it with our Say Please archetype and see if we can't fine-tune it down to a playable level. I'm going to skip a post-game wrap, let you know that this deck performed at 4 and 8. Now the 4 and 8, it didn't come without us having a strong fight. Series of misplays on my part, exiling the wrong pieces at the wrong time, I think is what really cost us in the end. We had several games that were very winnable that I think it was more on my misplays than this deck's inability to perform that cost us those matches. But it is still susceptible to some of the faster aggro decks like the previous version was that you saw in the last video. And unfortunately, we never really hit the mirror box combo in the same way that we had really hoped to. So it has its ups, it has its downs. We didn't really get our pieces in place to fight the decks we designed this deck to fight. Lost pretty badly to a Keys deck, and really this deck was designed to combat that high mana cost spell deck, and we just couldn't get the pieces we wanted when we wanted them. So overall, fun deck to play. I think it has potential. Didn't perform as well as I wanted for this video, but just to give a quick rundown on what we're doing here, we've got 2 Paladin Class, 4 Stonebinders Familiar, 2 Circle of Confinement, 3 Sungold Sentinels. So just in the 1-2 slot before we start pricing ourselves out of the market with Thalia, we're looking at a total of 11 cards. That's a lot of good playable stuff in turns 1 and 2, especially if you get mana locked and you end up drawing into a couple of those pieces that you can then kind of cycle in and get ready with. 3 Thalia, Guardian of Thraben, to work off the mirror box, 4 Brutal Cathar, 3 Elite Spellbinder, 3 Reidane, God of the Worthy, 3 Savior of Ollenbock, 4 Skyclave Apparition, 4 mirror box, and 3 Inquisitor Captains. Upon playing it and now looking at the deck, I didn't realize I was running 4 Brutal Cathar. What we'll end up doing here, and I'll do this change right in front of you, is alter the Cathar to Spellbinder ratio. Brutal Cathar is a fantastic card, but the Spellbinder really does a key thing for us that we need more so. We actually had a deck where we ran through 3 of them, and I thought I still had 1 more to go. Savior of Ollenbock, again, you know, as I've said in previous mono-white videos, this card is not what you think it is. It is not a Brutal Cathar cheap replacement, because it's the same mana cost, and it does the same thing, and it's susceptible to being removed and then returning all the cards to the opponent. It's really good if you need to remove 1 blocker for a lethal strike, but its biggest upside comes from cleaning out your graveyard and then returning it to the opponent's face when they kill that creature. So definitely an excellent card. If you haven't played it, I recommend giving it a try and thinking of it as a return from graveyard spell. With that, like I said, 4 and 8 was the overall results. I'll let you guys watch the gameplay footage here and just enjoy. You're going to get 1 or 2 of the losses. I'm not going to overwhelm you with a bunch of me getting my butt kicked, because I don't know that that's what you're here for. If it is what you're here for, let me know down in the comments. Would love to, you know, find that out. If you guys just want to watch someone get their butt kicked day in and day out instead of you, I'm happy to make that the channel's direction. But right now we're trying to get to Mythic. tried to make a push through Platinum tonight. Didn't quite work out like I'd hoped, but learned a few things, and I'm excited to continue to, go on this journey. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, this is Furion from the Floridaman Gaming. We'll see you in the gameplay, and I hope you have a good one. Alright, we have an opponent. This is not a terrible hand. Having a couple of Stonebinders is pretty good here. Opponent going first is less than ideal, but we can possibly make it work. Question is, will we run into land problems? When we played the original tax box deck, we ran into a lot of land issues. Alright, we're going to go ahead and bin the Infernal Grasp, build up the Stonebinders, and swing in for 2. Skyclave Apparition coming down. That is spectacular. We're going to go ahead and drop it to the board, remove the blockers from the pathway, and we will decline the Sungold and from it what it wants to do here. A, because we want to keep the Inquisitor Captain able to draw, but we also want to save that for a potential next turn. The opponent has left the building. Ladies and gentlemen, Mono White does it again. Alright, the next opponent has come up to the plate. Again, we are on this current attempt to storm the ladder, playing the alteration to our Say Please decks, which has been altered to fit the tax box mode. Well, that was a useful mulligan. Go ahead and drop the Ollenbock and hope we draw into that third land, because right now that is our sweet spot. There's the third land, which is beautiful. Thank goodness it showed up now, because that allows us to play it on time and not be delayed with a tap. Go ahead and play the Mirror Box. Opponent showing Boros colors for the moment. We have a deck very finely tuned to take advantage of a Boros opponent. But it's going to come down to, can we get our pieces on board fast enough? Let's take away some of their aggression. Next turn we'll play Reidane. Here's some whelp to the board. Never mind. When life gives you lemons, and by lemons I mean the perfect draw, you take advantage of it. That's going to slow down their dragon roll very hard. Still could have a Goldspan online with this next turn, especially when they're tapping in that way. Do they elect to turn it into treasure though? They turn it sideways. Interesting strategy. Do they have a spell to play? Orb of Dragonkind. Interesting choice. Another land. We now have a threat on board with the Savior of Ollenbock, able to clear the path. Do they have enough to swing in and kill us here? That is it. There's the Inferno. So they've got enough to drop the Inferno, but do they choose to? They don't elect to drop them in for the swing, but if they drop them now, we're just going to take them. Are they going to burn down the house? That would be an interesting choice. Looks like they're thinking about Dragon's Fire here. At least that's what we have to assume at this point, but they've got enough for the Inferno. Just between the Orb of Dragonkind and their mana alone, not counting the Goldspan treasure. Are they realizing that even with that and the Savior on board that we can still swing in for victory? Shatterskull Smashing. Interesting choice. Alright, do they elect to go all in with the Inferno? Reckless Stormseeker coming down. That is an interesting call on their part. And a Townraiser Tyrant. That is devastating. And now they've forced us into a no-win position. The opponent just had it when they needed it. That Shatterskull Smashing was a brilliant move on their part. We'll go ahead and let them take their victory here. It's not the same level of annoyance as that Azorius Keys we played a minute ago. We had the answers when we needed them. They had them when they needed them. This is a sad loss because we lost, but at the end of the day, this is the type of Magic you like to play. Your deck does its thing, their deck does their thing, and they just had the better draw. Next opponent has stepped up to the plate. This is a very keepable hand. We're going to go ahead and run our curve right out. Opponent showing Werewolf Sleeves, so Circle of Confinement is a gorgeous card to have on standby. And with the opponent not having a 1-drop Tenacious Pup, we're going to go ahead and drop the second Paladin Class and play right into Reidane. Reidane we can start pumping to the moon, and we have the Circle of Confinement ready. Ooh, it's a Bard Class deck. That is intriguing. Now if we can draw into the mirror box, these Reidanes will get out of hand quickly. Do they elect to pump the Bard Class? If I was in their position, that would be my play. This could be a mirror box nightmare, though. If that's what they're trying to do, this will get out of hand quickly. Alright, 1 mana down. That could be anything. Could be Tovolar. Could be Magda the Brazen Outlaw. We're not going to let them build the treasure base for this. That's going to have to go. Now they have availability up to almost 5 mana. If they have an Arlen the Pax Hope, that'll come down for 2. Bard Class is a very potent card. I actually have a deck that I enjoy playing that runs the very specific Bard Class Mirror Box combo. At 3 mana, they could also play a Halana and Elena Partners, which would be terrifying, as that is also out of range of the Circle of Confinement. Opponent is taking their time. Bergi, the God of Storytelling. That's a 3 mana draw. We can actually take that off board. And a Finn the Fangbearer. We can take that off board as well. That's actually probably the better capture, as Finn is a little bit more dangerous to us. That's interesting. They're trying to do a Death Touch Tribal Legendary deck playing off Finn the Fangbearer. We're going to go ahead and let that through. That's gorgeous. We're going to go ahead and take the Sereth Viper's Fang off board. And swing in to stay ahead of the curve. It'd be nice to draw a mirror box so we can start pumping and then playing out more of our Reidanes. If they can get us stabilized here, that would be a big deal. Arlen the Pack's Hope, we knew that was a possibility. Interesting that it came down. Oh, it's because of the Reidane. Interesting. So even with the tax reduction, they're still affected by the Reidane's taxes. Alright, the Nightside flip is good for our Moonrage Brutes. One more mana, and we'll get another good pump off the Paladin Class. And actually, with the Paladin Class as is, we can do a big double strike in on this next turn. They followed up with another Arlen the Pack's Hope. That can come in as a big 5/5 striker, but if it comes in by itself, we're happy to let it come in. And it looks like that might be their only play. They have 1 mana available with the Bard class that could play any number of things, but the question is, do they flip to the day side here and then have us take their entire board away? It's not a simple equation for them. They're adding more mana, so they're going to double spell. Double spell is going to be a near disaster for them, even with the Halana and Elena. Go ahead and pump it. And a Finn. Who do you pump? Go ahead and attack. I dare you. Double first strike's gonna wipe out your Death Toucher. And now you've just double spelled and you've cleared your own board. We're going to go ahead and just pump up, take the easy victory, and stroll on in. It didn't do the tax box thing that we wanted it to, but again, it's on a pretty solid mono-white exile shell that allows us to take advantage of some normal mono-white mechanics. Unfortunately, we sat with a couple of our Danes in hand looking pretty dumb, but the play pattern worked out for us on that match. Alright, the next opponent is up to play. This is another risky 2-mana keep. We're going to go ahead and see what happens here. Opponent showing white first. Double white, they have gone the route that we usually go. Fortunately for us, we can almost match them step for step, and we got our enchantment down ahead of curve. Alright, that is the modified Luminarch. That's the mana we needed. We can now start disrupting. Intrepid Adversary coming down and pumping. Let's go ahead and take a quick peek behind the curtain here. Another Intrepid Adversary. Go ahead and let the turn pass and then be prepared to trade. Brutal Cathar. Are they going to take our Brutal Cathar? No, they take the Spellbinder, so they take our trade piece. And another Luminarch. Do they attack in? They attack in. I think they forgot how first strike works. We now have a good case to be made here to give us some solid anti-intrepid adversary protection. We'll take a big hit doing it, but the opponent has seemingly forgotten what happens when this goes down. We're going to go ahead and hold. Anything could happen here. They can only take one of the two. Assuming, of course, they're not sitting on... Alright, so they elect to get back their Thalia. And we get a peek behind the curtain. Now can we draw into the magic? The opponent can't handle it. We have out mono-whited the mono-white, and we did it by the hair of our chinny chin chin. That was a narrow escape. They were one or two more cards away from drawing us into oblivion. Alright, we have our next opponent, trying not to finish the night on a loss. Which means I should have left 2 games ago, if you know what I mean. I'm going to go ahead and mulligan that hand. This is much better for what we want here. We're going to drop the captain, and then have 2 binders on the field, hopefully by the time we need them to pump both, to be pumped by the Brutal Cathar. Captain is a risky drop, as we only have 3 in decks. We may not see that card again, but it's a risk we're willing to take at this point. Looks like another Wandering Emperor sleeve. Be very curious to see what the opponent is playing here. Opponent leads with blue, and we are now drawing into all the land. Opponent giving us a friendly hello. At the very least, we can send it back their way. Opponent is being super chipper, so we'll just continue to play nice. And I think I see why. Opponent looks like they're playing a mill strategy. I only say that because of the Izzet colors, and unless they're doing the Kirin strategy, this will be painful, and it will be painful quickly. Mindlink Mech. Interesting. And that was a misclick. I did intend to attack, as right now they don't have anything on board. That is terrifying. Oh my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, I have seen the truth, and it is just absolutely disgusting. A 16 damage single swing through the air that we had no chance of blocking. If I had an emote that could just reflect. That is insane. I can't believe what I just saw there. I'm not even mad. As much as I want to be mad, I can't be at that. That was terrific. Alright, this is a keepable hand. If we play a creature deck, we have the pieces we need. And we're on the play. We have to take advantage where we can. We have enough stall here off turn 1 that we can have a good draw out. Agra Brood Pit could be facing a removal tribal deck here. Alright, opponent showing an interesting series of colors. Let's see if we can get this down or if we get Jawari'd. I have a feeling we're going to see a Jawari. Power word kill. Okay, taking away the Sungold. It's an interesting choice. Let's... oh my goodness. Alright, meat hook for 1 is a possibility. Let's push that back, as right now they seem to be a little land starved. We're just going to race them, and we're going to keep creatures off the board until we are in a confident place. They went for the Spellbinder. Ooh, this is tempting. It's going to make their 4 mana spells 6 mana here. Renin 7 is now out of reach. They're going to have to kill the Reidane first. They've got plenty of mana, but not for the Reidane. Siphon Insight. Do they draw the lucky? They don't. Ladies and gentlemen, we managed to swing it.